Globelines is back to map the shifting tides of global power. For years, Canada and the U.S. moved in lockstep, like two currents flowing in the same direction. But now, the trade winds have shifted and a full-blown economic storm is brewing. This isn't just about steel and aluminum anymore. Factories, power grids, and entire industries are caught in the crossfire. Who's steering this turbulence? And who's bracing for impact? Stick around, because this geopolitical showdown is about to hit full force.
It goes into effect April 2nd. We start collecting on April 3rd.
The relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperations, is over.
When economic allies clash in a trade showdown. For a long time, the U.S. and Canada had one of the best trade relationships in the world. They exchanged over $700 billion in goods each year. This was because of their location and the fact that their industries were closely linked, especially in manufacturing and energy. But in 2025, that partnership hit some turbulence. The Trump administration put a lot of tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum, and 10% on key energy exports like potash, saying it was for national security. They said it was to fight against illegal trade, but a lot of people saw it as political moves dressed up as economic talk. Canada didn't hesitate to fight back. Then Prime Minister Justin Trudeau responded with 25% tariffs on 30 billion Canadian dollars worth of U.S. exports. But it was newly elected Prime Minister Mark Carney who really turned up the heat. Having been in office for only a few weeks, Carney rolled out an even tougher tariff package and declared that the era of close U.S. Canada relations was over, covering everything from industrial machinery to auto parts, sending shockwaves through supply chains, and making one thing clear: Canada wasn't backing down. Carney made it crystal clear: Canada won't be bullied at the border or in the boardroom. With industries like autos, energy, and agriculture being hit, this trade clash wasn't just a speed bump. It threatened to shake up the entire economic framework of North America. The biggest shockwaves hit North America's manufacturing heartland, its auto assembly lines. American automakers caught in the crossfire. Tesla, Ford, and GM should be ready for the consequences. Who's next on the list? The auto industry. Phew, this one's going to make a bump. Canada is hitting back with a 25% tariff on EVs and gas-powered vehicles from the U.S., messing with the supply chain for big players like Tesla, Ford, and GM, who rely on smooth cross-border parts logistics. Take the Chevy Silverado or GMC Sierra, for example. These trucks rely on parts crossing the border multiple times before they even hit the road. With new tariffs in place, that once smooth operation turns into an expensive logistical nightmare. Tesla, meanwhile, is in an even tighter spot. Already battling shrinking profit margins in a turbulent EV market, these tariffs could deal a serious blow to its Canadian sales. And the rumors don't stop there. Insiders suggest Canada might slap Tesla with even more penalties due to its heavy reliance on US-based battery supply chains. Ford and GM aren't steering clear of trouble either. Each year, around 5.3 million light vehicles roll off Canadian and Mexican production lines, headed straight for American roads. But with tariffs driving up costs, automakers are stuck in a no-win situation. Either pass the price hike on to Canadian consumers or absorb the losses themselves. And here's the real twist. This isn't just a financial hit. These tariffs could throw a wrench into Canada's EV adoption, making the shift to green energy an even steeper climb. Local EV production is having a hard time keeping up, and import costs are going through the roof. This makes affordability a huge problem for Canada's green transition. What's the result? We'll see higher prices, fewer options, and a bigger challenge to reach our carbon reduction goals. While automakers prepare for financial turbulence, another storm is brewing, this time on the power grid. Before we dive in, take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button. It'll help us reach more viewers who care about global shifts just like you. Now let's figure out what's next in this geopolitical storm. Ontario's power move, turning energy into leverage. If the auto sector is skidding, the energy sector is on the verge of a blackout. Ontario Premier Doug Ford just turned up the voltage, slapping a 25% surcharge on electricity exports to the U.S., hitting states that depend on Canadian power. And he didn't stop there. Doug Ford made it clear he's willing to go even further if tensions keep rising. If the U.S. escalates this, I won't hesitate to cut off electricity completely, he warned. This trade war wasn't started by the American people. There's only one person to blame: President Trump. This isn't just a ploy to make himself look strong, it's a real threat to the stability of the U.S. energy grid. Washington has already made it official, but energy markets are already struggling under the pressure. Utilities are looking for backup options, but there aren't many options, and prices are slowly going up. The Bank of Canada has also expressed concerns, saying that a prolonged trade war could reduce the national GDP by 3% over the next 2 years. The markets weren't happy about it, and the S&P's TSX Composite dropped 1.5% as a result. We're staring down a perfect storm: soaring manufacturing costs, an unsteady power grid, and a public growing more frustrated by the day. But Canada isn't just bracing for impact, it's making its next move with a bold economic counteroffensive. Carney's strategy: powering Canada's future from within. As trade tensions are getting worse, Canada isn't just holding the line, it's gearing up for a long-term economic overhaul. Prime Minister Mark Carney has come up with a plan to strengthen the country's economy. A big part of this plan is a $450 million Canadian dollar boost for small and medium-sized businesses. This will include tax breaks, manufacturing incentives, and perks for choosing Canadian-made products. Channeling patriotism into economic momentum. But Carney's plan isn't just about fixing things quickly. It's about making sure Canada's economy is strong in the long run. Big infrastructure projects like the expansion of the Port of Churchill and new LNG terminals on the West Coast are picking up speed to diversify trade routes and reduce reliance on U.S. logistics. The biggest sign of this shift: Carney's decision to double the nation's domestic loan guarantee program is a clear signal to Canadian businesses. Reroute your supply chains, and we've got your back with real financial firepower. The strategy isn't just domestic. In a clever political move, Carney's team ran billboard campaigns in key U.S. battleground states, highlighting how tariffs are affecting everyday Americans, at the pump, in the grocery aisle, and on the dealership floor. This wasn't just policy, it was calculated pressure aimed at swaying public opinion during the recent U.S. election. While Carney strengthens Canada's economy, he's also rethinking the country's trade future, one deal at a time. Final take: trade battles, economic shifts, and what lies ahead. This isn't just a trade war anymore, it's a big geopolitical shift. Will Washington's tariff pressure make Canada hit the brakes? Or will Ottawa's moves, like reworking the economy, upgrading infrastructure, and changing global trade strategies, totally change the playing field? With Tesla, GM, and Ford caught in the crossfire, energy costs rising, and voters on both sides of the border questioning the direction, the big question remains: is this really the path we want to be heading down? So, can automakers handle the extra costs? Or will everyday consumers feel the squeeze? And will Carney's economic plan be enough to get us through this, or just a temporary fix? And could this trade battle actually speed up Canada's own EV industry? Let us know what you think. This is a whole new economic landscape we're exploring. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive into the shifting tides of global trade and policy. We'll be back with more insights, sharp analysis, and bold takes on the forces shaping economies, industries, and the road ahead. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and keep your finger on the pulse of the globe.